Welcome to Delta Green, Impossible Landscapes, brought to you by Black Project Gaming. Get read in at blackprojectgaming.com. I'm Vince, your host and handler for this campaign. Joining me are Brett as FBI Hostage Rescue Team Operator Ira Breuer, also known as Agent Morgan, Cami as Dr. Jenny Archer, Anthropologist and Delta Green friendly, Doug as FBI Special Agent Mark Hansom, also known as Agent Meshach, and Jack as FBI Special Agent Cassandra Reese, also known as Agent Madison. Impossible Landscapes is a campaign of wonder, horror, and conspiracy, written by Dennis Detwiller for Delta Green, the role-playing game. For more information on Delta Green, please visit delta-green.com. This podcast is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. In our last episode, M-Cell convened in New York City to investigate the disappearance of a local artist named Abigail Wright. According to their cell's case officer, she had been missing for over 2 months, and an occult symbol associated with demonology was found in her apartment. The agents and their friendly were tasked with determining whether an unnatural influence was behind Abigail's disappearance. If there was, their orders were simple: neutralize it. M-Cell made its way to Abigail's apartment, located in the Macallistar Building in New York's Kips Bay neighborhood, where they conducted an initial survey of the scene. They found the carpet ripped up, all furniture removed, and the walls and ceiling plastered with all manner of detritus. After photographing the apartment, the team decided to leave for the night and begin a more detailed inspection the following morning. As they prepared to depart, they noticed what appeared to be a microphone sticking out from the hallway rug at the base of Abigail's door. The group followed the wire to the apartment across the hall, where they met a young painter named Thomas Manuel. Manuel denied all knowledge of the microphone and claimed to have last seen Abigail 2 months prior at a going-away party in the building's 4th-floor smoking lounge. The Macallistar Building, however, only had 3 floors. When pressed further, Manuel exploded in irrational anger, and the agents forced their way into his apartment. Jenny, uncomfortable with the escalating situation, decided to check the building's upper floors. After finding the door to what should have led to the roof, she discovered it opened on a strange smoking lounge resembling an early 20th century gentleman's club. There she met a man named Mark Rourke, who told her Abigail now lived with an encyclopedia salesman on the 6th floor. Meanwhile, the agents interrogated Manuel, who told them Abigail had moved out and moved on with the encyclopedia salesman. A search of his apartment turned up nothing of interest, save for a refrigerator full of foodstuffs that should have been rotten based on their expiration dates, but instead looked fresh and unspoiled. Manuel became increasingly uncooperative, providing only enigmatic answers as to where Abigail had gone, when Jenny returned to tell the others about her discovery. Ira cautioned the team against exploring the smoking lounge and whatever lay beyond, but the others ultimately decided to investigate further. While the others went on ahead, Ira executed Manuel by crushing his throat. The group made their way to the smoking lounge, where they briefly conversed with Mark Rourke before venturing into the halls and corridors beyond. Before leaving, Cassandra took the opportunity to check some of the books lining the lounge's walls. She found scrapbooks and folios containing a depraved array of old pornographic photographs, the participants all wearing strange masks. Jenny led the rest of M-Cell out into the hallway, intent on reaching the 6th floor and bringing Abigail back. The group soon learned that the upper floors defied all logic and reason, ignoring the laws of the physical world as they stretched and contorted during their journey. Stairways appeared and disappeared seemingly at random, and as they ventured ever onward, they found themselves lost without a clear way back to the smoking lounge. As the team navigated these seemingly endless hallways, they encountered all manner of manifestations that left them shaken. A strange box containing an old grimoire, a plastic silver robe, and vials filled with golden copper plant pods. Labeled portraits of men and women holding strange bottles, with a single image showing a bottle without an owner, and the name Temperance Jane Fry. A young girl covered in gauze, singing and dancing alone in a ballroom, only to slow to a complete stop and collapse into thousands of clockwork gears and cogs. Their resolve whittled down by these strange and wondrous horrors, the group eventually managed to return to the smoking lounge. They discovered Mark Rourke had been joined by another Macallistar resident named Roger Caroon, but rather than question the men any further, they quickly made their way back downstairs. Before leaving, Cassandra brought one of the strange scrapbooks with her, ignoring Ira's strong suggestions that she leave it behind. With the smoking lounge behind them, the group found that only seconds had passed while they were upstairs. Reeling from what they had just experienced, they decided to return to the sanctuary of their hotels for the night and determine how to continue their investigation. And that is where we will begin tonight's session. So, yeah, what do you all do next?
So where are we right now? Like, where is everybody?
I think we just secured we secured Homegirl's apartment, Abigail's apartment, and then we were about to head out, I think, right?
Yeah, so you all, unless Jenny and Mark walked off by themselves, you all should be just outside the Macallistar Building.
Yeah, did we decide whether we were going to go somewhere together right now or if we were going to meet in the morning? I guess Jenny will ask that if we haven't decided.
Well, you said that you had someone to meet.
Yeah. If we're fine with meeting back here in the morning.
I do think that we should have a conversation sooner rather than later.
Okay.
I did leave something, though, in the building that I need to retrieve. I'll be back in just a moment. And before anyone can question him on it, Ira goes back into the building.
Well, does he go upstairs?
Yeah, he's going to really quickly go up to that guy's apartment, go in, search his body, get his keys, and then lock his apartment door and put his keys in his pocket and then come back down.
Okay.
Does anyone follow him?
No, but Cassandra will not necessarily follow him, but when she'll look at him through the doorway and stay within like the foyer area, just trying to watch and see what he's doing.
I'm going to see if I can, he's going to go into the apartment like it's no big deal. Search the guy's body for his keys, which I'm assuming I could probably find without too much trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd say it takes you no time at all. You go back to the body, you ruffle through the pockets. Are you wearing gloves?
Yeah, he wouldn't have taken them off. So yeah, he would be wearing the gloves that they had on before.
Handler, with my human, do I suspect anything less than savory happening right now?
No, I wouldn't say. I would say no, based on Ira's overall demeanor and
he's keeping his gloves on, right?
Yeah, he'll keep his gloves on. He'll probably take them off, like when we're actually walking away from the building. But I don't think he would have had the opportunity, I guess, to take them off at this point, or the inclination. And then he's going to try and kind of when he exits the door, he's going to try and kind of like hide the door and what he's doing with the door with his body, lock the door, surreptitiously slip keys into an inner pocket in his coat, and then walk back.
So I am watching him. Would I be able to roll some kind of alertness to see if I see what he's doing?
Yeah, roll alertness, and then Ira roll stealth.
Ooh, that's a 3 on that.
That's a very good
check.
success, yeah.
And I got a failure, so you see me do it.
Yeah, so Cassie with a 3 out of 50, and Ira with an 89 out of 70. Yeah, Cassie, you see him trying to be careful, trying to be cautious, and mask exactly what it is he's doing by keeping his body in between any potential observers at the door at all times. But you see him, and you watch as he does something with the lock and then drops these keys into his pocket.
Cassie won't approach him, but she'll watch him, and as soon as he finishes locking up the door and slipping the keys into his pocket, is everything okay?
Yes.
Why do you have his keys?
Prevent future problems.
What kind of problems?
We should really go and have that conversation.
You see her sort of in this almost this sense of the state of disbelief, and she would probably usually fight you on this, or at least be more dig a bit more into the weight of your words. But given everything that we've all collectively experienced tonight, she seems a little bit too tired to do it, and she will sigh and walk out of the building onto the street.
Mark, Jenny, what are you up to during this time?
I think just, for Jenny at least, just anxiously waiting for the others to get back so they can have whatever conversation that they're going to have. She's still not entirely sure if Ira's going to kill her by the end of the night or not, but we'll find out.
How about you, Mark?
Yeah, I think Mark's not doing much. I mean, probably just check in with Jenny. Hey, Jenny, you doing all right?
I'll be honest, I don't know how to answer that question right now, all things considered. I don't know, I just really want to find that girl, you know? Felt like we were close and we turned our backs.
I don't know what we were close to, though. I mean, that I've never seen. There's something weird going on here, Jenny.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, whatever weird is going on, she's stuck in it. And I guess, that our job was to try to find her, but I guess that maybe you guys are here for something different, it sounds like. And I'm not sure where I fit in with that.
I mean, just looking at it, if you think about it, we saw that Mark Rourke guy, Roger, he was with him. We saw some hands come out of a door. We saw a little girl dancing. Do all those people need to be saved?
Maybe.
Maybe.
One of them has a name.
Yeah.
And one of them, I was told, I guess you guys were given different instructions, but I was told one of them has a family here that misses her. And we're supposed to do what we can to give them some kind of closure. And if she is alive, even if she's stuck in some weird hellscape that's straight out of the 20s or whatever, I don't know, I guess I thought that we were supposed to save her.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we can. I mean, you remember that Roger guy?
Yeah?
Why does that name sound familiar to me?
I don't know. I don't think I know you well enough. Do you know any Rogers?
The mailbox. And, yeah, Mark's going to go back into the mailroom and take a look at the mailboxes.
I'll follow him.
Is there an R. Caroon?
There is indeed.
That's where Roger came from.
What's going on?
He's stuck in there too?
It didn't look stuck to me. We got out just fine.
Yeah, well, after a while.
Who are you talking about?
You remember meeting Roger at the inn?
You mean the other man, not Mark?
No, the other guy, yeah.
Briefly, yes.
There he is. Right there.
It's 3A.
Yeah.
Huh.
We need to look in to see if anyone's reported him missing.
Yep.
Because what if he's just coming and going, and no one knows that he's quote-unquote missing right now?
I mean, what if he ain't missing? Thomas, he told us that he was in the smoking room, right? They had a party.
So some of them come and go.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't she leaving?
Because she moved on. That's what...
What does that mean?
Hell if I know.
We don't even know if this Roger person is moving on. He may be there too, the way that she is.
Can we have this conversation somewhere else, please?
Preferably, yes. We should probably get going.
Look, I gotta swing by my my hotel. I'm staying at the Courtyard in Soho. It's not too far from Washington Square Park, but from there on to Hell's Kitchen, right?
Yes, there's a Best Western up there that I'm staying at.
All right.
Mark, I'm staying nearby where you're staying. Why don't we go together?
Yeah, that works. We'll meet you there.
Yes, room 305.
Right.
Are you going to be all right to go home by yourself, Jenny?
Yeah, do you want me to come to Hell's Kitchen too, or is this a FBI agents only kind of talk?
No, but I do remember you saying you had places to be.
Yeah, well, apparently no time was wasted while we were up there, so...
Fair point. Well, yeah, you can, if you'd like to, we can catch a cab up there.
Yeah, I'll just grab a payphone on the way and make a quick call. So expect me later.
Okay.
Well, at least let us walk you to the... Wait, you're just gonna call a cab? I guess we'll wait until the cab comes, right?
How do you do it here? You just go to one of the busier streets and just hail one down?
Yeah, pretty much. You gotta be aggressive about it, though. They can smell your fear. She tries to smile a little bit.
Ira, maybe you can help us with that.
I think you'll do just fine.
Mark's all into that. When we get to the street, Mark's like, being super aggressive, like whistling and...
Jenny just smiles and watches him.
Yeah, Ira's just watching this whole thing.
Wait, Ira, you want to share a cab? Once we get Jenny situated.
I think they could probably handle it just fine on their own, but if you want to wait for them, we can.
I don't think we should leave people wandering around this neighborhood You know what that newspaper article said.
All right.
And we'll say eventually you're able to hail a cab for Jenny, and she's on her way. And then Ira and Mark, if you wait for Cassandra, Cassandra will get her own cab.
Oh, well, I thought Jenny was coming with me.
Yeah, I think I'm going with Cassandra, and we're just going to stop at a payphone and I can call home.
Yeah, and then me and Mark are going to our hotels to pick up our stuff so we can go to Hell's Kitchen and stay in the same hotel as Cassandra. I think that's the plan, right?
Perfect.
Cassandra would mention to Jenny, if you just want to use the phone in my room, you can, if that's easier.
Oh, yeah, sure. Thanks.
All right. Well, with the collective effort of all of us, we'll try to hail 2 cabs down and head towards our respective neighborhoods.
Eventually, Jenny and Cassie, you get your cab and you head to Cassie's hotel, and Ira and Mark, you get your own cab. And we'll pick up with you two. Do you discuss anything in the car on the way over?
Ira's not going to start a conversation.
I mean, Mark is just going to keep up a constant chatter of background talk.
Yeah, and I think Ira will not reply to pretty much any of it, kind of realizing that he doesn't have to in order to keep Mark going. Like Mark will just kind of keep his own wheels turning.
Yeah, Mark's like, you remind me of this guy who works in my department, Jim. Yeah, he's a strong, silent type too. Anyway, the other day Jim says to me, and it just keeps going.
So yeah, we'll say for the sake of brevity, it takes a little bit navigating the New York City traffic, going from one hotel to the next, but you're able to recover your belongings and start making your way from the Soho area to Hell's Kitchen. But Cassie and Jenny, what are you two ladies up to?
Cassie, during the cab ride, is fairly quiet. She's been spending most of the time looking out of the window, just looking at the passing streetlights and all the buildings that are lit up at this hour since everything has gone dark. Just watching everything go by. You see that her hand is placed on the cover of the scrapbook, gently but firmly, as if to keep it as close to her as possible without it opening or anyone trying to open it for her.
Does she seem, maybe if I need to roll a human, I can, but does she seem nervous?
I'd say you'd have to roll human.
Yeah, for sure. Ugh, 71 out of 70, so close.
Hard to tell. She's pretty... Even when she was stressing out in some of the areas of the upper floors of the apartment building, she didn't seem explosive in any way.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit harder to read.
Yeah, I think Jenny keeps looking over at the book, but being that they're not alone, they're in a cab, she won't mention anything or ask anything about it yet. So yeah, just also quiet.
We'll say it takes a little bit, but eventually you do reach Cassie's hotel, the Best Western, and proceed up to her room.
Listen, you can make your call. Just when you're done, I do need the room for a bit. If you don't mind, maybe stepping out, checking out the lobby or something.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll be quick.
All right, thank you. And she'll go to the door, unlock it, and she'll let you in, but she'll hover closer towards the door as to sort of give you a little bit of privacy without leaving the room.
Yeah, Jenny is just going to go grab the phone and call home. She's going to call her apartment, so whoever picks up there.
Roll luck.
41.
It only rings a couple times, and eventually a male voice picks up and answers.
Hello?
Hey, Luke, it's me.
Oh, hey, baby, how you doing?
Good. Remember I told you I was doing some consulting thing? It's taking a little bit longer than I thought, so I don't think I'm going to be home probably for a little while longer. I just didn't want you to get worried.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's fine. It's just, whenever you get these official suits in, everything takes 10 times longer than it should.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no problem. I was thinking about heading out anyway with a couple of the guys from work. As long as you're okay with that.
Yeah, of course. Go have fun.
All right. Yeah, we won't stay up too late, but just be safe, okay? I don't know exactly what it is they got you doing, but just be careful.
I will, and I'll see you later.
Yeah. Just keep me posted.
I will.
All right. Love you, babe. Bye.
Bye. She hangs up, gets back up and kind of gestures about the room. All yours. And she'll step out.
Yeah, thank you. If you just want to wait down in the lobby, I can come get you when I'm done. It won't be too long, hopefully.
Sure. No problem.
Thank you.
Jenny's going to stay right outside the door once it closes and see if she can hear anything.
Okay, so let's start with Cassie.
So when she leaves, Cassie very gently shuts the door, but she would definitely hear all the locks get flipped on, so to speak, as soon as she steps out. And she goes to the bed, sets the book down beside her, and heads over to the phone. And she wants to go ahead and call... I want to call Bradley.
Roll luck.
81 out of 50.
With an 81 out of 50, the phone just rings and rings, but eventually the answering machine does pick up.
Hey, Brad, it's Cassie. I just wanted to give you a call. I know that you're probably on a shift right now. I just wanted to let you know that I got to New York safely, and I'll be up for a little bit. So if you have a break or anything like that, you just give me a call. I'm staying at the Best Western in Hell's Kitchen, 305. I love you, and I guess I'll talk to you later. And she hangs up the phone and takes a moment and looks over at the book again. And she goes over and pushes it underneath one of her pillows and then pulls the covers back over the bed as to make it look fresh and tidy. And waits probably about 10 minutes before she goes back towards the door.
So did I hear anything?
Yeah, so good question. Cassie, would that have been in a normal tone of voice? Were you trying to be quiet with it? How was your...
I mean, she's relatively soft-spoken. So, I mean, it was a normal tone for her, but she's not very loud or animated.
So let's do this. I will have you make an alertness roll, Jenny, but what I'll do is there'll be a 20% penalty just to account for the door and the space between the phone, the bed, and where you're positioned in the hallway.
Oh, okay. I fail because I only have a 20.
Oh, okay. It's tough. You can hear, even slightly feel maybe some of the vibrations of speech happening beyond the door, but you just not enough for you to discern any sort of meaning or intelligible words from the conversation.
Okay, yeah. Once she's like, oh, I'm not going to hear anything, she'll go down and wait in the lobby so that whenever Cassandra's done, she doesn't catch her with her ear against the door.
And how long would you say Cassie stays up there before?
Oh, just about 10 minutes.
Okay. We'll say roughly about an hour later, Mark and Ira, you arrive at the Best Western where Cassie is staying. And Cassie and Jenny, do you do anything else in that time?
So Cassie would have gone down to the lobby to get Jenny. Hey, and if you wanted to just come back up to the room and relax.
Yeah, sure. Everything okay?
Yeah. I just had to make a quick call home.
Oh, sure.
How about you? Are you going to be okay staying up here?
Yeah, no, I'll be okay.
And yeah, with that, she'll lead Jenny back to her room. And once they're inside, I'd say that Jenny would see that the room is already, it's fairly put together, spotless. There doesn't seem to be a lot of clutter. You see that any of her luggage is neatly put away. She has some of her clothing hanging up in the closet, which is open. But she'll sit down at one of the tables in the corner of the room and start to essentially kind of unload some of her kit and even start to lay out some of the Polaroids that they took earlier.
And you hid the book, right? The scrapbook?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a little awkward because Jenny kind of wants to make conversation, but I think she senses that Cassie isn't a chatty gal. And with the things that have happened tonight, she doesn't know what is safe to ask about and what isn't, what's off limits. So I think she just kind of sits on the bed and waits and just watches Cassie go about her routine.
So how did you get it wrangled into this?
Oh, I consulted on another case, and I guess they just kept my number.
What kind of case was it? And you notice, too, that she's not even looking at you. She's just arranging the photos as she's speaking.
Another odd one. Nothing like this, but a little odd. I don't think I'm supposed to get into the details.
Are they classified?
Probably. Who knows? I don't know if I tell you, and then, Ira's going to come knocking on my door at 3 a.m. a week from later.
No, I don't. I hope that's not the case. I think right now we're, for better or worse, on the same side.
He is a little intense, though.
Yeah, I've met men like him in the bureau before. Maybe not as intense as that, but did anything strike you? And at this point, you see that she starts to turn towards you. Did anything up there strike you as familiar?
Not really.
Handler, I want to see if she's telling the truth.
Go for it. And I'll allow you to make a persuade roll, a competing persuade roll, Jenny.
Okay.
God damn it, failure. 94 out of 64.
Yeah, 94 out of 64 on that human for Cassie, and 61 out of 80 for Jenny on that persuade roll. Yeah, she's telling the truth.
You seem to have something with the robes from that box.
Yeah, yes. That's probably something that we should discuss when the others are here.
Right.
So what was the nature of the case you were working on again?
I want to do a human check now, my turn. Trying to determine if it's just like curiosity or if it's like a test. Is she like seeing if I'll spill anything or if there's any other underlying motive that she keeps asking about that?
Go for it.
38 out of 70.
So what Jenny might pick up on is she's using a little bit of an interrogation tactic wherein you repeat the thing, you bring it up throughout the conversation multiple times to see if there's a slip up or if there's a change in the answer. So you probably pick up a bit on that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was odd, and I think that's really all that I'm allowed to say about it. I mean, I'm sure you kind of understand the nature of what I mean when I say odd, given that even though everything that happened tonight is absolutely batshit insane, kind of par for the course for you guys.
I don't know about everybody else, but we can ask them when they get here.
Yeah.
And they do arrive. Eventually you hear the knock on your door as Ira and Mark arrive from their errands.
Yeah, and Ira would have at this point checked into the same hotel. He's got himself a room there now.
Yeah, easy enough. We'll say that there's availability for you both.
Okay.
Is it possible, like down in the lobby, for Mark to pick up a dry erase marker?
Let's leave it up to the luck roll.
All right. So I ask him, and oh, that's 57.
Yeah, 57 out of 50. Unfortunately, this property does not have conference rooms, and so they don't have any dry erase markers. They do have them in the back, but they don't typically hand them out to guests because they never get them back.
Right. Okay. I think on the ride over here to Hell's Kitchen, probably when Mark opens the door, he'll just say, "Look, I don't know why they call it Hell's Kitchen. I mean, I saw a daggone Target store on the way over here. I was just expecting something more. That's all."
Yeah, Cassie will let him into the room as soon as she hears them knocking and step aside and just kind of guide them in. It's a 1-bedroom, nothing terribly fancy. Again, it's just, kind of a decent sized Best Western. So there is like a little table and chairs and a bed, but nothing beyond that aside from like a TV. Make yourselves at home. Just don't, get into bed.
Yeah, Ira will find a seat, kind of move it so it's a little bit removed from the other ones, but facing everybody and also the door, and then sit down. Back to a wall, obviously.
Well, we should probably go over what we saw tonight.
Who wants to go first?
So I got a theory. LSD. I mean, they back when I was in church camp, when I was in high school, they told us about, lysergic acid, right? It can cause you to just get all messed up in your head.
How do you think that was delivered to us tonight?
Maybe it was on some of the things in the apartment.
People don't generally share the same delusion.
Oh, all right. Well, that theory's busted.
So, and Jenny, just as a reminder, anything that you do here is confidential and remains with the four of us.
Yeah, of course.
Cassandra looks over at Ira to see if, just sort of as like a look of confirmation.
He gives a very slight nod of his head.
So I've been looking over the photos. Nothing has jumped out at me immediately, but more concerning are some of the things that we found in that place. Some months ago, I was at a scene. I work with the FBI's evidence response team, and a partner and I were at a scene, and at some point and you see that she's trying to there's this moment where she's trying to recall, and you can clearly see the gears turning in her head as if she doesn't quite remember everything about it. And there were these people. We thought they were vagrants at first, but they were wearing robes very similar to the ones that we found in that crate, in that box, the silver ones. I don't think it's a coincidence.
Are you allowed to speak to the nature of the case you were working on when you found them, or?
I don't think that's a good idea.
She kind of gives Ira this almost exhausted, okay, fine, whatever.
He gives her a very small shrug.
No, it's fine. It was just a routine drive-by shooting that took place downtown. We didn't encounter them at the scene of the crime. It was blocks away. And I don't know what compelled my partner and I to leave the scene. But when we did, we found them in an alleyway painting this mural. And it's LA. Strange things that could happen there. There's lots of artists, lots of creative types. We at first we thought it could have been some sort of film or TV shoot, some sort of community art project going on there, but I don't remember what happened after. But they were there in these masks and in those robes that something about this feels personal, and I don't know if it feels the same way for any of you, but if it does, I would like to know.
Do you remember what kind of symbol you remember them painting? Maybe it's something I can identify.
It was a mural. It was a very crude cityscape on fire. There were what looked to be two moons in the sky above.
Does that ring any symbolic bells for me?
Roll intelligence. Let's make an intelligence roll.
Okay.
See if you can remember anything.
39 out of 90.
At this point, with Jenny having successfully passed her intelligence check, I asked the other players to leave the room so I could tell her what she remembered. Jenny.
Yes.
You do remember people in the commune. There were all sorts. It wasn't just architects. It wasn't just writers. It was also artists and musicians. And you remember the artists painting all sorts of just surreal imagery. You remember two moons. You remember two suns. You remember multiple suns, multiple moons, all sorts of alien landscapes and cityscapes. But you do sense that this is something familiar. It is definitely something you likely encountered in the Hollow.
Okay. Just super quick, was there ever any sort of official investigation into the Hollow after everything happened, that there would be documentation of this is what they had been doing? Or if I had made any mention to that, it would be oh, you were from there, you saw there, obviously, because you were there at the time.
I would say it's probably super obscure at this point.
Okay.
And even you were so young at the time, and
right.
It was such a trauma for you that a lot of it is just, whether purposely or just through the passage of time, just beyond your recollection at this point.
Okay.
And I don't know, is that something that Jenny would have ever actually tried to dig up on and seen the reporting on or anything like that?
Not too in depth. I think there might have been a time once or twice that she might have just done a couple cursory I guess not Google searches, Alta Vista searches. I don't know, whatever exists in the 90s, just to see what exists out there and what people generally know. But yeah, nothing too in depth.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those events in history that's been consigned to urban legend more than anything, and it has since kind of taking on a life of its own to where it doesn't even remotely resemble the truth.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I'll bring the others back in.
Yeah, so Jenny takes a minute. She frowns a little bit like she's trying to think or recall. You know, it's kind of like an urban legend, but I've heard of similar paintings, never that far west, but they've been known to pop up here and there, usually in like secluded communities, never in a huge city like LA. But
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do you think this is going to help us specifically what we're doing?
I don't know what's helpful and what's not.
Okay.
It sounds familiar, is all I'm saying.
What's the urban legend?
I mean, it changes from one person to the next. It's super obscure. I probably wouldn't know about it, except for it's my field of study specifically. It's just, I don't know, just weird, almost alien images that people paint. But like I said, usually it's in secluded communities. Usually they're abandoned by the time people find them. So there isn't much evidence or data. It's just weird things people stumble across. Like I said, I've never heard of it that far west or in a major city. That's odd to me.
But you said it's a imagery that pops up in maybe desolate or even just downtrodden areas.
Yeah, I mean, very rare. But the two moons thing, that stood out as something that I read about at some point when I was doing my thesis.
I mean, this is Skid Row. This is...
Yeah. I don't know, maybe there's some new age hippie thing that people really like. Two moons. I don't know, maybe it's not relevant at all. It's just, he said if anything sounded familiar, and that sounds familiar to me.
Well, there are many of them, and I don't... Nothing in my own recollection of the kind of communities that have sprung up in Skid Row over the past few years. Nothing spoke to that sort of pageantry. They were... Handler, just out of character, do I remember if anyone else saw the books?
Oh, yeah. I don't believe so. I think you were the only one who was really paying attention.
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't believe that this is as coincidental as others might believe it would be, but at this point we can't rule anything out. I asked Jenny this earlier, but for you, Ira and Mark, did anything up there ring any bells? Did anything feel familiar?
No.
No, ma'am.
Human check for
Human
both
check
of them.
on both of them.
Go for it.
Do you want to roll separately? Like one for Ira?
I'll just say one roll for you, Jenny, one roll for you, Cassandra.
Okay.
And then Ira and Mark, if you are trying to conceal anything, roll a competing persuade.
Finally, a success. 47.
29. Oh, nice.
I'm not trying to convince them of anything. I honestly don't think that Ira saw anything familiar to him up there. I don't remember him. He was very specifically not looking at stuff too, right?
True.
Yeah, I would say if there was something that should have rung bells for Mark, I missed it.
Yeah, it did not.
Yeah.
I will give you on the human that Ira looks annoyed, or seems annoyed, on edge.
Is everything okay, Ira? Do you have somewhere to be?
No. I just think we're talking about the wrong thing.
What should we be talking about?
By all means.
What it is that we are here for, what it is you expect to get out of this, what it is that is and is not a good idea.
With all due respect, this phenomena, whatever it is that we witnessed tonight, I don't know about any of the three of you, but at least for me, there is a direct connection, and I need to know more.
That is very dangerous. Do you know why I'm here? What my job is?
I have an inkling, but I would prefer you told us.
I'm here to protect you.
From what?
He kind of like holds his hands up and
What brought you to this, Ira?
Same thing as all of you, I expect.
I don't think it is, because the thing that brought me here is somehow tied to whatever's happening in that apartment complex. And by all accounts, nothing that we found there is tied to you. So again, I'll ask, what is it that brought you into this?
It's not the only strange thing in the world.
I'm not saying it is, but I want to know what strange thing brought you here.
Well, it's none of your business. I will tell you that the last time I encountered something like this, somebody else was as curious as you were, and it was a bad idea. I am genuinely trying to protect you, but I can't do that if you listen to me.
What do you suggest that we do then?
Burn the building.
What about Abigail?
Abigail's dead.
You don't know that.
Pretty sure.
Pretty sure? That's not good enough.
Even if she's not dead, she's different.
How do you know that?
Ira, why do you have Manuel's keys?
What?
Why do you have Thomas Manuel's keys?
I already answered that question.
I'd like to hear the answer.
Yeah, tough shit.
Ira, if you did anything to that young man, there's nothing that I can do to stop you. But if we are going to work together, it would behoove you to be somewhat transparent so that whatever course of action we decide to take, we are at least making sure that we're covering ourselves and being the most effective unit as we can be.
What? What do you mean, whatever course of action?
Our job here is to remove this threat.
That's not what I was told.
Okay. That doesn't change the fact.
Maybe it doesn't for you, but it does for me. And whatever conversation is happening right now about, hey, whatever it is you want to do, just let us know and we will cover it for you. I didn't sign up for that shit either.
I'm afraid you did.
I signed on to help find and rescue, if possible, Abigail Wright. That is my job here.
You signed on for whatever they want you to do.
Then maybe they should have told me that a little bit more vaguely instead of giving me an objective. Whoever they are, and she does like quotations, you can have them call me and tell me that directly, but I'm not trusting any of you right now.
That's fair. But Ira, if I need to do anything, if I need to clean up anything,
Oh my God.
I need to know what kind of mess you made so that I can properly prepare myself and make sure that I have everything that I need to do to take care of it.
Jenny starts pacing. She is uncomfortable.
Ira's going to give you like a sort of a measured look and maybe like a little bit of a nod of acknowledgement, but he's not going to keep talking. This is like quite clearly not the venue for this conversation. He kind of like motions his head towards Jenny.
Fine. Mark, do you have anything to add?
I'm a little bit lost here. I mean, look, you guys were talking about, well, at least you were talking about what brought you into this. I mean, with me, it was, it was just, it looked to me like it was just a bunch of kids messing around with something that just spun out of control. And, well, the people I was with at the time said best thing to do is to just cover it up, because it wouldn't help anybody to know about it. But we didn't kill nobody. We didn't burn no buildings down. Certainly not with people in them. I mean, what about Roger Caroon, whatever his name is? I mean, as far as we know, he's still fine.
I don't think anybody in that building is fine.
Well, I'm with Jenny on one thing. I think we should definitely try to help the people that are in there, even if it means, I mean, if we can't, we can't, but we got to try.
If that's what you want to do, I'll do my best to help you. But I think it's a bad idea.
I mean, you talk about burning that building down.
Yes.
Well, if we set fire to the outside of that building, what says that we're going to destroy what's inside it anyway?
Set fire to the inside of the building.
Yeah, well,
What makes you think that any of this obeys the laws of man-made fire, or any sort of physics or scientific phenomena that's based here?
Ira kind of shrugs and goes, I don't know that it would work, but it's definitely a good thing to try first.
Or it could make it so much worse.
He shrugs again. One way to find out.
Right.
Let's just put that in the Plan B category for now.
Again, I'm here to protect you. What you guys decide to do is what we'll do. I'm not in charge. But the more you learn about this kind of, I don't know, there's a threshold somewhere where you stop being on our side and start being on the other side. And I don't know where the threshold is. But I know that once you cross it, I can't help you anymore.
Other side, what does that even mean? What other side?
He shrugs his shoulders.
Oh my god. Yeah, just keep offering opinions and then just shrug your shoulders when anyone asks you to expand on what you're saying.
I don't know what it is. Whatever it is that they keep sending us to investigate, or whatever it is we encountered to get us roped into this. Whatever it is that's going on at the top of that building. That's the other side. I don't know what it is, any more than you do.
Well, short of the burning the building down, there's got to be some other things we can do. There's a lot of information we don't have.
Can we try to talk to Roger in the morning? I mean, if he's not supposedly missing,
Yeah.
we can assume that he comes out. Maybe he has more information for us.
I think that's a good idea. Thomas Manuel ain't talking to us. That's pretty clear. So, Karoon, definitely want to talk to him. And Mark's now like putting his fingers up and ticking off the things. Oh, we got to find out, like, who owns this building? Who built it? Where's it come from? I mean, has it always had this sort of problems? Maybe there's some information we could find out there.
Well, Jenny, you seem good with research. Is that something that you can follow up on?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we'll have Jenny do a little bit of research on the history and the legacy of the building itself. See if she can find maybe anything else on either Abigail or any of the other tenants. Even, what was his name, Mark Rourke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of us, I mean, I'd be happy to do it, should go down to the NYPD and get information we can on, these other people in the building, like Karoon and any of the other people. Who else were on? Well, hold on. And he pulls out his notebook and he flips it over. There was, Wright, Manuel, Karoon, Post, 4A. Who's that? Van Fitz, 6B. Any information, we can find about these people?
4A and 6B. Those were on the first and second floors, correct?
I don't understand how the numbering system in this place works.
Me neither.
Yeah, Van Fitz and Post are on the second floor.
Okay.
The rest of the apartments in the building are unoccupied.
Yeah.
Mark, when you're down there, perhaps look up, and you as well, Jenny, maybe look up some of the other names and there was that name of the company that was on that crate. There was also another name on one of the gears. I think I saw one on the photo as well. What was it? Temperance Jane Fry?
Yeah. Temperance. I remember that.
Something old-timey.
Either way, you both should look into those names. Anything on them.
I mean, I can go the official route, check with the NYPD.
I think if we have both of you working on that at the same time, I can start to secure Abigail's apartment, start to break things down. And Ira, if you wouldn't mind assisting me unless you feel like your skill set is better used elsewhere.
He shrugs.
Okay, do we want to meet up sometime tomorrow to go over everything?
We should probably meet either at the apartment or back here. I mean, the three of us are going to be here anyway, Jenny. If you didn't mind coming in the morning, we can go over our game plan.
Sure. Let me, and she's going to write down her phone number really quick. Just call me whenever you're ready.
Will do.
Being FBI agents, would we have pagers?
You would.
Yeah, Mark's gonna write his pager number on a piece of paper, on 3 pieces of paper, and hand them out to everybody.
Pager, fancy.
Half the time I don't even know how to work it, but I'll do my best.
Okay.
We'll see you in the morning then, Jenny, and the rest of you. Say 0800.
Okay. Everyone try to sleep well, I guess. And Jenny will head out.
Let us know when you've gotten home.
Yeah, Signal on the pager.
She'll smile and hold the door open for you as you leave.
Yep, Jenny goes.
Yeah, she'll shut the door and turn to the other two who are still in her room. What about you two?
What about us?
No. Are you staying back in Soho, or did you get rooms here?
Yeah, we got rooms here.
It's better to be close.
Maybe not so close that we're in the same room the entire night, if you don't mind.
Ira's going to nod and then kind of just look over at Mark until Mark gets up and leaves.
All right. I thought maybe you wanted to hang out or something. I'll see y'all in the morning.
Rest easy then, both of you. Have a good night.
Night.
Ira still hasn't gotten up from his chair.
Yeah, Mark's gone out the door.
Yeah, so she will let Mark out, and as she's starting to shut the door, she'll turn back and realize that Ira is still sitting in his chair. Is there something else that you need to discuss?
That was ill-considered.
What was?
Bringing that up in front of Jenny.
She's a part of this now.
Ease her into it. She's going to have a hard time.
I wasn't afforded that luxury, and from what I gather, you weren't either, so I don't think there's no way to pad this. She saw what we saw. We all saw what each other saw. Then none of it makes any sense.
Kind of like tips his head back and forth. Yeah. Still, doesn't hurt to try.
Just let me know if I have to clean up anything tomorrow.
He nods. Gets up.
She'll stand aside and kind of bite her bottom lip as she opens the door for you.
I'm in room 308 if you need anything.
It's down the hall.
Yep.
All right. And she'll keep the door open, and you'll see if you look back that she's standing in the doorway looking down at you as you're going towards your room.
Oh, he doesn't look back.
I don't know when it would be a good time to mention it, but Jenny is taking a cab back to the apartment complex.
I figured. So let's do this.
Cassie does have the keys, though.
She does, yep.
Ira has a set of keys as well.
So, Mark, do you do anything with the rest of your evening, or is he just going to kind of call it a night?
I think probably with the rest of the evening, Mark is going to call his girlfriend Sharon, who is a senior at Clemson. Tell her, hey, yeah, no, I'm here in New York City. It's bigger than I thought it would be. Tell you the truth, and confusing, but it's pretty cool. And just talk to her about, non-confidential details about the, pizza place that he went to this morning and stuff like that.
Cassie, what do you end up doing?
So Cassie, she lets Ira go to his room, and she goes back to her bed, leaving the light on, and she turned on the TV for maybe about 10 minutes, trying to kind of drown out some of the, the kind of mental noise that's going on in her head with everything that she's seen, but it's too much. So she turns it off, and she digs underneath the pillow where she hid the scrapbook that she found, and she walks over to the table that she had spread out all of the Polaroids. And she's just going to basically spend as much time as she can before she just passes out, going over the Polaroids that she took and trying to cross-reference them with the photos in the book. And as she's doing so, she feels herself getting emotional, remembering glimpses of the things that happened to her in LA before this. Seeing those masks that she's seen before, seeing the robes, but then coupled with all of the strange, deviant sexual behavior that's happening in this book that she herself is not familiar with firsthand. And so it's just a sort of dramatic moments of looking over the photos and going over everything until she tires herself out.
So there's nothing that you see in the Polaroids in the Wright apartment that show up in the scrapbook. But I will say, since you spent so much time poring over the photos of the apartment, I'll give you a 20% bonus to your whenever you make a search roll when you go through the apartment, just because you've now kind of studied it inside and out, forwards and backwards, and have a good understanding of kind of the structural space and how to begin your search. So
Okay, great. Thank you.
okay, Ira, you had some questions for me.
Yes. So, would it even be possible for Ira to dispose of a body without being seen in that part of town?
It would be extremely difficult.
Because I was thinking he would maybe wait until like 2 or 3 a.m., go to like an all-night car rental service, because there's probably going to be one of those, right? Like those exist.
Yeah. You'd probably have to go to like the airport, like JFK or LaGuardia or something like that, but yeah.
And you can just tell me how stupid this plan is. So he would go to like a place, get an all-night, get like a car, go back to the apartment building, wrap what's his nuts up in one of his own sheets, put him in the back of the car, drive him to a river, dump his body in a river. That's what I was thinking of doing. Is that a really terrible plan?
So a lot, not terrible. A lot of it will come down to a series of rolls. There'd be stealth rolls, so you're unnoticed. There would be alertness to see if anybody's watching. There would be, yeah, there would definitely be some chance involved.
Yeah. How many rolls are we talking here?
Yeah, I don't want to make it a point to where like you're essentially rolling to fail. So I would say roll criminology, roll alertness, and then roll stealth.
If I bring Cassandra with me, will that give me any bonuses?
I would say that would absolutely help because of her knowledge in forensics.
So he's gonna wait. He's gonna wait until like 2:00 in the morning, and then he's gonna knock on Cassandra's door.
Before we get there, because that will be some time later, I'm guessing. Jenny, let's see what you're up to.
Yeah, so she wants to go back to the Macallistar Building. And first of all, I guess just determine whether or not she can even get in.
So the door is locked, but there is a buzzer system.
Is it connected to specific apartments?
Yes.
I guess I'll try Roger's 3A, see if he answers.
You push the button for the buzzer and you hear that harsh buzzing sound, but no response.
Damn. I'm just going to try to knock on the door really loudly. Maybe someone's out there and they hear me.
No answer.
Okay, I'll just start on the other buzzers, just kind of go down the line till hopefully someone answers me.
Roll luck.
Okay.
But with a 41 out of 50, yeah, you hit the buzzer for Post's apartment, and there's a buzz in response as the door is unlocked.
Okay, yep, she goes in. But she's going to Thomas Manuel's door. She's just honestly going to knock and see if there's any response, because she's a little concerned.
There is no answer.
Fuck. I think she almost like paces in front of the door for a minute, like trying to decide, like, do I need to call 911? Am I getting myself into danger here? Like she's kind of having that internal struggle. But yeah, then I think she's going to go upstairs, see if that lounge is still open.
The lounge is still open.
Yeah, then she goes in. God damn it.
So the roof door opens once again, and you step in, and you see Mark Rourke seated in the same chair, nursing a drink, smoking a cigar, and across from him is the man who introduced himself as Roger previously.
Mind if I get a drink, fellas?
Oh, Dollface, how you doing?
I just can't stay away, can I?
You sure can. I ain't complaining. Hey, how about you, Karuna? And Karun doesn't seem to look up. He's buried in one of the books. But yeah, Hooch is over there. Go get yourself a drink, huh?
Yeah, I will go get myself a drink. I'm not going to take a drink. I'm just going to pour it for myself.
Okay. The wet bar has plenty of ice, glasses, a series of unlabeled drinks. There's bitters, vermouth, olives, limes, lemons, oranges, essentially anything and everything you could think of to make any conceivable drink. Even if you had any little or no knowledge in bartending, there's enough to figure your way around.
Yeah, she'll just pretty much, she's not even paying that much attention. She's just going to grab the first liquor that she sees and get a little ice and pour a little bit. So we'll just say she grabs some bourbon or whatever and just pours it. So, after, coming in and out of here a few times and witnessing everything this place has to offer, I'm a little curious about your story, Mark.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Nothing special. Just I live up on 7. Lived here for a while now. It's really all there is to it, I guess.
Where'd you live before you moved up to 7?
Now, I've been here so long I can't even tell you.
What about you, Roger, right?
Oh, yes, Roger.
You live upstairs, or?
Me? Oh, no. I live in the Macallistar.
So you just kind of come and go when you want a drink?
I do, yeah. It's easily accessible. Best booze you can find pretty much anywhere. I never have to leave the building.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient. Did you know Abigail very well, Roger? Or Gail, I guess maybe she goes by now?
It seems like everyone's got their nicknames for her, don't they, Mark? But, yes, I do know Miss Wright. She's still here. She lives on 6, apartment 12A.
Do you know why she decided to move instead of just coming and going like you do?
Well, if, I believe it's all about that salesman that she's, taken up with. They seem quite smitten with one another.
I can't remember if you told me or not. I'm sorry. Does he have a name?
None that I've ever caught.
And what does he sell exactly?
Mark chimes in at this point. Fucking encyclopedias.
That's right. You did mention that. Who does he sell them to? I mean, does he come and go like you do, Roger, or does he just stick around here?
Well, if I'm being honest, I don't see very much of him.
That's kind of weird, right? Sales guy who never leaves his house?
No, I never said I never see him leave. He comes and goes, but I never see where to or when.
How often does he come and go?
Well, I'm not entirely sure.
I was just asking because I'm in college right now and I'm writing a huge paper, and now that I think about it, encyclopedia might be kind of helpful.
Buy it from somebody else. That guy's a fucking creep.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. It gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Is there a way to call him down here? Get in touch with him?
What do you want to have anything to do with that guy for? Just let him be.
Just an encyclopedia. He sells them, right? That's his livelihood.
A lot of people fucking sell them. I wouldn't bother yourself.
I want to do a human check to see if, I don't know, if he's like trying to brush me off just because he's like, what the hell? Or if there's something suspicious.
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh, 14.
He's brushing you off. He does not want to talk about it.
Gotcha. So he lives up on 6? Do you know which apartment number? Maybe I'll just drop in and say hi to Abby real quick and then maybe get an encyclopedia. While I'm here, I mean, it's convenient.
Work kind of shrugs and Karun says, 12A, if I'm not mistaken.
12A. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I kind of cheers my glass and set it down.
Hey, have you met the night manager yet?
The who?
The night manager.
Is he around here or is he down in Macallistar?
No, he's up here. Mr. Castaigne.
Mr. Castaigne. No, I have not met a Mr. Castaigne, I don't think. Why?
Well, if you're going to be spending some more time here, you may want to pop your head in. Common courtesy.
Oh, sure. Where can I find Mr. Castaigne?
Just down the hall.
Of course. Everything's down the hall. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, don't mention it.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna go down the hall with the intention of finding 12A.
Yeah, so you head down the hall. Roll sanity.
Success.
Once again, the hallway just seems to get impossibly long, and you turn and you have gotten no further from the smoking lounge than when you started. So lose 1 sand or 1 willpower.
Okay. Seeing as how that it does not seem to be working, she's going to try and repeat what she did last time. That seemed to like unlock it. I think that was just with her trying to focus on, I want to find Abby. I want to go upstairs to the 6th floor, things like that.
As you're standing there, you close your eyes and you start concentrating, you start focusing, you start trying to will yourself to navigate this place, to find where Abigail may be. You think of the 6th floor, you think of 12A, and eventually a set of stairs appear.
I go up and I start looking for 12A.
What's strange is that this is these hallways are very old, almost Edwardian or Baroque looking, just all, sconces and burgundy carpet and just very for lack of a better word, fancy looking. I mean, it's old, but it looks new. It's timeless. But none of the doors have numbers on them from what you can tell. But roll sanity.
Yeah, of course. Success.
Yeah, 38 out of 67. 1 sand or 1 willpower.
All right, we'll take away a sand this time. Okay. She's just going to call out. She's just going to pretty much shout, Abigail Wright? Are you here? She's not sure which door to knock on.
At this point, you hear footsteps behind you, and you turn. And there is a young Caucasian man in dated clothing, maybe from the 1940s or the 1950s. He rounds a corner, smiling and laughing like he's involved in some kind of conversation with somebody that you can't see. You don't really understand what it is he's saying, but he starts to walk past you. Do you try to stop him?
No, I'm not touching him.
As soon as he walks past, he transforms. His skin goes sallow and pale, except for his face, which becomes purple and swollen. His eyes turn up and bulge white and then burst red. A ghost rope pulls at his neck in a noose, and he appears to lift off the ground and dangle. Roll sanity.
Oh my god. Appropriate failure.
76 out of 66. All right. Roll 1d6.
Oh, a d6? Okay.
You lose 3 sand unless you want to project.
Oh, man. I think I have to because I already lost so much. Yeah, I'm going to project onto Luke since he's having a night out. I'm having a night out. Different night out, but...
Right, yeah. So in this case, roll 1d4.
1d4, okay. 3 again.
3. So you lose that much willpower, and you lose that much from your bond.
Okay. Oof, my willpower is not looking great. Okay.
And so, yeah, you negate your sand loss by that much, so you lose none.
Okay, cool.
But as this man passes you, I mean, do you shut your eyes? Do you turn away? Like, how do you react to seeing this?
I think she won't close her eyes or turn away, but she definitely starts to take a few steps back, almost like getting ready to just run the hell out of there if he starts to seem aggressively moving towards her, like he might hurt her. But right now she's just kind of like almost in shock, just like watching what is happening.
Eventually, his feet come back down to the ground, and he's that same young Caucasian man you saw previously, laughing and smiling. And once again, this time you hear more clearly, and he says, "The ballroom. What do you want to show me?" And he turns a corner.
Okay, so there's a ton of doors. They don't have any markings on them. Weird ghost guy. Yeah, I think losing sanity, or she didn't lose sanity, but having that fail and experiencing that, I think, is bringing her back out of her need to be heroic. So she is going to turn around and try to exit again.
All right, roll sanity.
Oh boy. Success. Whew.
Lose 1 sand or 1 willpower.
All right, 1 sand.
And you get nowhere.
Oh no. Once she realizes that, she probably tries to calm herself down and tell herself, I did this before. We seemed trapped and I got out just fine. So just calm down, focus on the exit. You'll get there. She's probably talking.
You gotta help me.
Too. What?
You feel these hands grab you as you're trying to focus, and you turn around, and there is this man standing there. His beard is down to his chest. His strange lock of filthy hair obviously has not been washed in quite some time, and he is panicked. You've got to help me. You've got to get me out of here, please.
Okay. Who are you?
Langford. My name is David Langford. I don't know how long I've been here. You've got to get me out of here, please. You're with them, right? You were with those guys. You're cops, right? You're like fucking feds or something. I heard you guys talking.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to get out, and I grab his hand so I don't lose him. Okay. We just have to calm down, right? When we calmed down last time, it seemed to work. I'll get you out of here, I promise.
I don't know, I've tried fucking everything. I can't get out of here.
Okay, just focus with me for a second and just breathe and try to calm down. I know that's asking a lot. This is fucked, but just try to calm down.
Are you real? Are you real, or is it this place fucking with me again?
I'm real.
I was here. I was here. I was fixing the fucking cable. Oh my god! There was a junction box. The cable box was at the top floor. There was. I've been here. It's been months. It's been 6-7 months. I don't even know what's happening anymore.
Okay. Have you seen Abigail Williams anywhere?
I haven't seen anybody. No.
Okay. It's okay. We'll get out. I promise, we'll get out. And she, holds onto his hand so that she doesn't, potentially lose him, and she tries to center herself and, again, focus on the exit. I want to get out. I want to go home as much as she can.
Roll sanity.
29.
29 and 65. Lose 1 sand or 1 willpower.
All right, 1 more sand. Here we go.
Why aren't we moving?
I'm trying. David, just, okay. This worked last time. We left, right? We were here and we managed to leave. I just had to focus, and I can't seem to do that again, but we're not going to be stuck here.
Okay, all right, fine. Just get me the fuck out of here.
I'm trying. Okay, I'm trying. Just please calm down and try to relax.
No, fuck that. What? Relax? Are you fucking high?
I'm trying my best, okay? But panicking seems to not be working. Last time I got out because I was able to think clearly and calmly, and so that's what we're going to do. David,
is that what you think?
Yes, that's what I think, because it's because you were calm. It's the only rational thing that makes sense to me right now, and I need to hang on to that little bit of logic that is still present in my brain.
Rady, look the fuck around you. You think this has anything to do with logic or rationality?
No, I don't. But what else would you suggest? You've been here for months.
All of a sudden, you hear this tinkling of a music box from around the corner. What the fuck is that?
How would I know? You haven't heard that before?
No.
Okay. Does it seem to be getting closer, or is it staying in a consistent spot?
It does. And eventually this small thing, just over maybe half a meter tall, composed of brass clockwork, wheels, and the smashed remains of a porcelain doll, comes wheeling around the corner. Its mouth clacks open and shut as it wobbles on these 2 uneven wheels. Its arms spin as it moves. And this strange dirge plays from this music box embedded in its chest. The air is filled with this coppery stench as it approaches, and its mechanisms are lubricated with something that looks like blood. The arms are fixed in a crucifixion pose, and the fingers are simple curves carved into porcelain without seams. And it approaches you. And you see that it rolls to a stop before you. Its mouth clacks open and shut and open and shut, and there's an invitation on its back.
I reach down and I grab the invitation.
Printed on finely pressed vellum and addressed to Ian Frederick de Craig, prisoner 125101. Join us at the palace, a masquerade to celebrate the new king. Come to dine, come to dance, come.
You wouldn't happen to know an Ian Frederick de Craig, would you, David?
He's gone.
Oh, fuck.
And so is the Clockwork Child. Roll San.
Okay. Critical success.
So you lose 0 sanity for that.
Okay, cool. I'll take every bit I can get. Yeah, I think she's just, with that envelope in hand, walking down the hall, trying to keep it together, but the longer and longer that she seems to just not be getting anywhere, the more she's panicking.
You look up from the invitation, and you see a figure standing at the end of the hall, and he's pointing to his left. His face is obscured in shadow, but there's something familiar about it.
About him?
It's him.
Is he pointing towards, another hall or a door or anything in specific, or just left?
It's at a junction.
Okay.
And so you can't tell what's on the other side.
She's going to cautiously and slowly approach him. That panic that she had earlier kind of dissipating, or at least not as intense as it was before. And as she gets closer, she's I know his face is kind of obscured, but she's going to try to make anything out that she can. What he's wearing, how tall he is, how his hair is styled, anything to try to make sense of what she's potentially seeing.
The memories from that time are so vague, but it's as if you saw him yesterday. But as soon as you start to get closer, he begins to walk right.
Wait, Daddy?
He's gone.
She stands at that juncture for a minute. So he went right, but he pointed left. So she's gonna... Oh, fuck. She's gonna go left, but she's gonna keep looking over her shoulder, almost... She can't tell if she hopes that he's back there when she turns around at some point, or if she hopes he's not, but she keeps looking back over her shoulder as she walks left.
It's a dead end on the right. He couldn't have gone anywhere.
Okay, well, this clearly isn't real. I'm just seeing things. She heads left and just gonna keep trying to get out.
As you walk, you see two people run across the opening at the end of a distant hallway, way too suddenly to be seen clearly. A moment later, they're followed by three men in large, odd-looking gas masks, carrying shotguns. After they cross out of sight, all of a sudden you hear these distant, thundering booms that couldn't be anything other than shotgun blasts. Do you pursue?
Trying to think back specifically on that time, if there was any point that she, having seen what she just saw, that like gunfire and stuff like that stands out in her memory of any specific moment, or if it's just something that maybe isn't relating to her, but is just something to be aware of, or...
Nothing that jogs any memory.
Okay. Yeah, what the hell, I've come this far. Yeah, she walks forward with the mentality that the only way out is through at this point.
As you reach the junction, you find these two dead marionettes, life-sized, laying out on the ground, torn open by buckshot. Like everything else you've seen, they're made of clockwork, but red tissue paper is spilling out of them in an approximation of blood. And they're dressed in coats and shirts and pants.
I don't think she has the capacity to focus on too much of that, so she's going to try to just kind of skirt around them, not get too close, and just keep going down the hall.
Make one more sand roll for me.
Ooh, oof, fumble.
Continue on, you reach another junction and another junction. At this point, you're simply following your gut, because there is no rhyme or reason to this place. And eventually you're back at the smoking lounge.
Oh my god. She's gonna book it out of there.
Mark starts to say something to you as you leave, but you don't hear him as you just hightail it out of the lounge, back down the stairs and back into the Macallistar Building.
What time is it? Has the time changed at all since I went
Maybe
in?
3 seconds.
Yeah. She's gonna just take a minute and find somewhere to just sit and collect herself, because at this point I think she's probably crying just out of the panic and the things that she saw. So she needs a minute. It's probably, like 10 o'clock, so she probably won't still be there when Ira and Cassie get there. She will call a cab to take her home eventually, but she needs a minute first.
Okay.
Do I have the invitation still in my hand?
You do indeed.
Nice. Okay.
We'll say that you eventually make it back home, and Luke hasn't gotten back yet.
That's fine. I don't need him to see me like this. She's just going to take a cold shower and go to bed and fall asleep as best as she can.
All right, let me see how much willpower you gain back, because you do gain willpower by sleeping, so...
Okay, good.
So when you get a full night's sleep, you regain 1d6, so roll 1d6.
Okay. Nice. I'll take it.
And I'll give you 1 extra for playing to some of your motivations.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll give you a solid 4.
Sweet. Thank you. And she completely forgets to page everyone that she made at home, so you guys never get that page.
So the night progresses, and Ira, what do you end up doing?
Yeah, he's gonna go and knock on Cassandra's door.
Cassandra, you've fallen asleep at your desk with the scrapbook and the photos, but you're startled out of your slumber by the sound of knocking on your hotel room door.
Yeah, she starts to not jolt awake, but definitely realizes that she had actually passed out in her seat and that the light was still on and that her bed was still, for the most part, untouched. And she looks down and sees herself in the clothing that she was wearing earlier that night. And she goes to the door. She instinctively makes sure to make sure that she has her holster on her gun. And as she does, she sees the time, that it's closer to 2 a.m. And she goes to the door and peeks through the peephole, and I assume she sees Ira there, and then she will sigh relief and very gently open the door just enough so that you see her face. What's going on?
You said you wanted to find out what happened to him?
All right, I'll get my things. And she opens the door wide enough to let you in.
He'll come in. Shut the door behind him.
And she'll start to gather up her kit back into the duffel bag that she had brought earlier. As she does, she moves towards you, but makes sure to close the scrapbook and put it aside and heads towards you.
Yeah, he notes that, but doesn't do anything about it. But he is gonna kind of step towards her a little bit. You good for this?
Depends on how bad it is. But I've seen enough.
He gives a nod of his head and then turns to leave.
She'll follow. And as we get down to the lobby, in the elevator, she'll ask him, so do we need to do anything before? Do we need to pick up anything?
Just a rental car.
Rental car. All right, well, we'll have to ask the front desk about that.
No, I already looked up where to get one.
Oh, okay, well, lead the way then.
Okay.
And yeah, she will follow as he dictates.
So, where are you heading?
So he's going to go to a late night car rental place, probably by an airport, whatever the closest airport is. Pick up something with a considerable amount of trunk space, if we can. Yeah, and then head to the building.
All right. Yeah, we'll say you get your hands on we'll go with a blue 1995 Ford Bronco. So, you drive up to the Macallistar Building. What's your plan going to be?
Kind of depends on the layout of the building. So if there's an alley or something next to the building that's big enough for him to park the Bronco in, he'll do that. In a place where it's going to be as close to an entrance as possible, because he doesn't want to be carrying a body wrapped in a sheet for a very long period of time. Plan is for us to go to the apartment. I'm going to pull the sheets off his bed, wrap his body up in them. We're going to put them in the trunk of the car, drive to some body of water. There's plenty of them around. Throw the body in the river, drive back to the hotel. I think that's it, right?
Okay, let's do our rolls and see, because you've got the keys to get into the building and his apartment, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So roll alertness.
Is this at the building?
Yes. And so one of you pick whoever's gonna.
I've got an 84.
Go for it.
26 out of 84.
Whew.
So there are people out and about. This is a rough neighborhood at night. But there doesn't seem to be anybody paying particular attention to you or your car or the building.
Sweet.
All right, so you head inside, and you get to Manuel's apartment.
Yeah, I will unlock the door and open it, and then make an after you gesture.
Yeah, Cassandra will step ahead, and I'm sure at this point, as soon as she steps in, she smells the scent of death. And...
Well, I'll stop you there. You actually don't smell anything. There's no body.
Ira's gonna, seeing her not have the reaction that he thought she would have, he's gonna lean past her and look over her shoulder.
Roll sanity, Ira.
Yes.
25 out of 74. You lose 1.
Okay.
What is it? What am I? Turn on the light here. And you see that she takes out a glove and slaps it onto her hand and looks for a light switch.
Yeah, you find one.
Okay, yeah, she turns on the light. There's nothing in the living room. Where?
Nothing.
So what did you bring me out here?
No, I'm not too sure. There should be a body here.
Handler, could I don't know if it would be a search or alertness. I just want to look around and see if there's been any trace of anybody else in here since we visited his apartment, if anything in the apartment has changed since we've been here.
I won't make you roll, just with your search skill as it is. You look around and you take time to just kind of get a feel for the place based on how it was when you last left it. Granted, something obviously, well, at least according to Ira, transpired there after you left the first time. But it doesn't look like anything's been messed with or tampered with or moved from what you can tell based on what you saw last time.
Okay. Cassandra will go to the fridge and see if there's anything inside, if it's still the same expired but not expired food in there.
Yeah, same foodstuffs that were there before with the same expiration dates and the same unspoiled food.
Okay. I want to check out his bedroom and bathroom too to see if he has any kind of medication, if he has any kind of journals, if he has anything that he's used to either document what's been happening in the apartment building or anything that gives us any insight into his own mental state.
Ira will close the door behind him and just kind of chill and watch.
This time I would say make a search roll. With a 20 out of 71, you end up kind of retracing your steps from the last time when you tried to look through this place. Now, you've gotten a little bit of sleep. You're a little more focused. You search and you find that there was this plastic plant base in the kind of the common area, and there was a hidden recess in there. And you find unlabeled audio cassettes, what looks to be a copy of a play, and a bronze medallion.
Is there a title to the play? And what does the medallion look like?
We'll start with the medallion. So the medallion is exceptionally made. When opened, it reveals it's a double locket that once held two pictures. One looks like it's been scraped away, leaving a bit of paper and glue behind. And the other depicts a beautiful woman with long brown hair, dressed in a manner that suggests this picture has to be from the 1900s, maybe. There's swirls and rosettes and filigrees, inlaid in the metal, but the locket is mundane and there are no recognizable symbols from what you can tell.
Okay. I'll put it in my bag.
And as for the play, it's a relatively thick play. Certain portions of it have been underlined in red ink. But one of the excerpts that catches your eye, scene, the smoking lounge, a large parlor on the 4th floor. In the room are the dog, Thomas, and Michelle. Enter Mark Rourke. Mark: Abigail is gone. She moved upstairs today. Thomas: and? Mark: I missed the kid. Michelle: her dad, that pig, came around. She doesn't like you, Mark. No one likes you. Anyway, she ran off with that salesman. Everyone knows it. Mark: fuck you, you bitch. Thomas: come on, guys, come on. The dog barks. Someone is heard coming up the stairs, a loud racket reverberating up and down the staircase. Mark: who is that? Everyone stops to listen. Michelle: who could be down there? Who is that? Mark steps to the doorway and leans to look down the stairs. Mark: hello? Hello? Enter federal agents.
Do I see any date as to when it was written or published, or do I see an author or name?
You see none of that.
She rolls it up and stuffs it into the bag.
Seeing her take those things, Ira's going to look at her and go, I know you're not going to listen, but I feel like I got to say it anyways. Bad idea.
If we don't believe he's going to come back, we should think about getting some of his things, preparing some kind of a way bag.
Why?
Because if he's gone and he has family, they'll come here, and if he still has all of his items here, and if he looks like someone or something took him, they're going to press further, and there is a chance it'll come back to us.
2 missing people from the same building in a couple of months, they're going to press no matter what we do. The less we get involved with these things, the better.
We should... You don't happen to have a Walkman, do you?
No. If you want to collect his things, you feel like it's important, go ahead. But I think it's a bad idea.
Does Manuel have either a Walkman or a stereo, a portable stereo?
He does. The apartment is filled with stereo equipment. So we'll say you actually are able to find a Walkman.
If it's possible, she'll take like a boombox or a portable stereo. Otherwise, she'll take a Walkman.
Oh yes, boombox type. You find that relatively easily.
Yeah, and if she can find it, a pair of headphones, and then she'll start to pack up and make sure that nothing looks like it's been as disturbed as possible, and start to head out.
Yeah, Ira will shake his head in disappointment, but not mention it again.
There's really not much for you to cover up. You just move things back to where they were. You rotate the plant base to roughly where you had seen it when you discovered this hidden compartment. And you kind of rearrange some of the stereo equipment to cover up where it was that you had pulled the boombox from and the headphones, but it doesn't take you very long. And eventually you both make your way out of the building.
Actually, right before we go, I want to hit up the fridge, and I want to take something. I don't know the exact contents, but if he has something like something small, but that's perishable, like whether it's like a small bottle of milk or like lunch meat or something like that, that would show signs of decay or mold or anything like that. I want to take that and put it in my bag as well.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So you find there's a half-drunk carton of milk, some cold cuts in there.
Yeah, just a single thing to like make, because I want to see if it degrades in quality after we leave the apartment. So yeah, I'll take just like the carton of milk and make sure that it smells fresh when I open it.
Please don't drink that.
I'm not going to drink it. Just want to make sure that it's still the way that I think it is.
Yeah, sure enough, it still smells fresh.
Okay. Yeah, she'll close it and pack it away, and she'll head out with Ira. Lock the door, but before we go, check his mailbox.
Ira will give a slight nod of his head. So yeah, Ira locks the door behind him when they leave, and then as they're leaving, goes to check his mailbox.
So there's just some junk mail. I mean, at this point, it's the mailbox is just crammed with mail, most of it being junk mail. But you do find a couple of letters from an Elaine and Arthur Manuel with a Hempstead, Long Island address.
He'll motion Cassandra over.
Is there anything other than junk?
Yes. He kind of holds up the letters with the names on them towards her.
She'll very gently take them from his hand and put them in her bag as well. Would you mind dropping me off back at the hotel before you return the car?
I'm going to keep the car for a few days.
Fair enough.
And then on the drive back to the hotel.
Well, at what point do you check the milk, Cassie?
So as we're driving, I would probably check it maybe like about 15 minutes after we leave the building.
As soon as you crack open that carton, like even you smell it, Ira, and it is just putrid, curdled, disgusting, months-old milk.
Oh, God.
Roll sand.
I open the carton and turn on the overhead light. Does it look any different, or is it just curdled milk?
Oh yeah, no, it's fucking disgusting. It is just curdled and putrid and yellow.
All right, pull over. I'll toss it.
Yeah, so Ira, with a 35 out of 73, you lose nothing. And Cassie, yeah, with a 20 out of 56, you lose nothing as well.
All right, yeah. As soon as we kind of pull over, she'll look around, and if there's no trash can, she'll just pour it out into the gutter and then crush the carton and toss it into a nearby bush.
Easily done.
And yeah, we head back to the hotel.
He will say, as you're driving back, he should have been there.
Where should I have been?
No, he should have been there.
Oh. What did you do to him?
He's going to give her a look like, come on.
What did you specifically do to him?
I crushed his windpipe.
And you made sure he was dead?
And this is like a real bitch please look he gives you. He was dead.
Let's get back to the hotel. I think we need to look into this a lot more before we go back into that building.
I agree.
I understand, and part of me agrees that that building should burn. But if it's capable of doing the things that it's done to us, that it's perhaps even done to its own tenants, I have never experienced anything like this before, and unless you have.
Not like this.
What have you experienced then?
He looks uncomfortable, but he doesn't reply.
I understand that you're uncomfortable, but maybe whatever you've been through, whatever you've seen might, I don't know, if you even just talk about it, maybe something will come out of it. Maybe we can apply it to this.
Cassandra, no.
All right, I won't press it, but all I'm trying to say is that whatever is going on does not seem like it's obeying any kind of laws that we understand, at least the way that we understand them to be. And something as common as fire, I don't even know if it would hurt whatever's in there, I feel strange even talking about it as if it's a thing.
We don't know that fire would work, but we don't know that it wouldn't.
Why do I get the feeling like this isn't just a phenomena? There's something about this building that feels like an entity, when I'm in there, I feel like I'm inside another body.
Whatever it is, we don't need to understand it.
You don't need to understand it, but maybe I do. Like I said, whatever this thing is showing us, whatever we're encountering, I've seen pieces of it before.
Well, I can't stop you. I won't stop you. But just remember what I said before. If you cross the line, I can't help you anymore.
What's to keep you from going over the line yourself?
He kind of shrugs. I try to avoid as much of this as I can. That's all I can do. All I know what to do.
She turns her head forward and just looks out the windshield and then turns away from him, looking outside of the passenger side window, and just does as she was doing before, just watching the lights in the city go by as they drive back to Hell's Kitchen.
We'll say you arrive back at the hotel. I'm guessing you go your separate ways.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, she'll take her big old bag of tricks and head back to her room, but she's not going to go straight to bed. She immediately goes and finds an outlet and sets the boombox up, and she's going to spend the remainder of the night with headphones going through the different tapes that she collected.
All right, so roll 1d6 for me.
3.
So you lose that much willpower from staying up all night.
Oh, fantastic.
But oddly enough, there's really nothing on the tapes. It's just ambient sounds of a nearly empty hallway at night.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she'll listen to as many as she can before 8 a.m. And if she finds nothing, she won't report it. But she'll at least have like a notepad with her just in case she hears anything, and she can document it.
You do occasionally hear like what sounds to be like the distant sound of someone or something running, maybe like a dog, but nothing else, nothing that stands out to you. No voices, no discernible voices or conversations, just ambience.
And I'll also say that she made sure to put both the script and the book in a safe space within the hotel room, like a safe or something like that.
Okay, yeah, easy enough. 8 o'clock the next morning. What is the plan?
Jenny does arrive with all the coffee orders that they had mentioned the day before.
When you hand Ira his large black coffee, he gives you the first smile you see on his face. It's very small, but still gives you a smile.
She kind of gives him like a little nod, half nod in return.
Can I have a really low human, but can I human her to see if she's insane now?
Yeah, and so Jenny, if you want to roll a competing persuade to kind of make it seem like nothing's wrong. And then Cassie with the coffee, roll 1d6 for me.
And I'll say that too, that she would have called Mark just a little bit maybe earlier in the morning to get him over there.
Okay.
Ooh, 1.
So for you, Cassie, the coffee will offset the any potential skill penalty for 1 hour.
Okay.
Now, Mark's human is an 80, but with Jenny's critical success on her persuade of a 77, I don't think I can beat that.
Give it a shot.
I mean, I would think this would just be, Mark's just looking at everybody to see if they seem rested, that sort of thing. But
okay, yeah, fair enough.
35.
Yeah, so Jenny with a 77 out of 80, Ira, the 49 out of 10 on that human. She seems pretty fine. She seems eager to get to work.
Cool.
All right. So what's the plan then? I'm going to head down to the police department and see what headway I can make on checking up on these names. Mark has a list of names that he's written out, which will include, like Roger Kroon, Mark Rourke, Abigail Wright, Thomas Manuel, and then the other residents of the building.
Can you check and see if there's a Michelle that lives here?
Michelle. I don't remember her name.
Why, Michelle?
Something that I found at the scene when I was going over some of the photos from last night. I saw a name, Michelle, pop up.
Michelle. All right. He writes it down.
Out of character, because the internet is still a baby at this point, if I know we were talking about me also looking into some names, is there a way that I could do that does not involve, like, the police? I don't really know where Jenny would head to go look into things herself, too.
So there is the internet.
Okay.
There's city records at City Hall.
Okay.
That's always a good start. But yeah, there is an internet that will at least get you started. It's not phenomenal.
Okay. Yeah, then so maybe I'll just plan to head to a library where they have a computer.
Yeah, I mean, your university probably has a phenomenal library, so.
Okay, perfect. That was out of character, so we're good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you bet. Would she be comfortable like doing that research at her library or at her school or?
Yeah, I think so. Just because it's a place she's familiar with.
So Mark was going to NYPD.
Right.
Jenny was going to either City Hall or the university or both.
I mean, there would be an FBI. There's a New York City FBI agency as well. I could probably go to.
There is.
But would that be better than NYPD?
Potentially not. Like so just by checking records, you might just be able to find that NYPD has one. But since the information sharing, especially over the internet, was still very much in its infancy, it was still in development. You would probably end up having to go to either City Hall or the NYPD to pull the hard copy record anyway.
Right. That's kind of what I figured also. And I would assume that there would be people at NYPD who could help me if I'm able to get that help.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And Cassie and Ira, what is your plan?
Cassie's plan was to start disassembling Abigail's apartment and looking for more clues.
Okay.
Yeah, and Ira will be essentially staying with anyone who's going to the apartment. So if anybody heads to the apartment building, he'll go with them, under the assumption that that's likely the most dangerous of the various different things that they'll be doing. So that's where he'll most likely be needed.
All right. So you'll be going with Cassie then, and so you will not be helping her search though.
If she specifically asks for his help in something, he'll help her. If not, he'll just be there keeping watch. But he's very specifically trying his best not to interact with the actual stuff, if that makes sense. He's there to deal with like violence-related problems when they arise.
So with that, let's start with Mark. So where are you starting and who are you researching, or what are you researching?
Well, I think first thing Mark's going to do is stop at a bagel place and pick up, like a box of a dozen bagels with some cream cheese and that sort of thing, and take it with him to the MIPD station.
All right.
And he shows up in the door and walks to the front desk and says, "Hello, yeah, my name is Mark Hansom. I'm here from the Buffalo FBI office. I'm working a case and I need some help looking up some names and other details of people here in New York City that might be associated with this missing persons. I would really appreciate it if you. By the way, would you like a bagel?"
Yeah, they take it, and they are more than willing to help you out. At this point, they kind of direct you to their like information services section. And they walk you back themselves, and so you've got the run of the place. So you tell me what you would like to look up. I'll tell you if a role is necessary to get access to that, but we'll see what we can find.
Okay, I think what I should do is start at the top of my list because I've got a lot of things to look up. Probably the first thing is I just want to do a check on the Macallistar building itself, when it was built, who it was built by, who's owned it over the years, any unusual things that have happened there, that sort of thing.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, the record section, they unfortunately don't have any of like the permit or blueprint related information. They direct you to City Hall for that, but they are able to. What's your bureaucracy or criminology at?
Bureaucracy is at 60, and
Perfect. You're good.
criminology is at 70.
Even better. So yeah, they're more than willing to assist. They are able to pull a list of crimes that were related to the Macallistar Building. Through that, you're able to determine that the architect was Asa Severin Darabandi.
Asa Severin Darabandi. Okay, so Darabandi, and that's interesting.
So Darabandi was born on 28 May of 1886, disappeared in 1950, and declared dead on September 2nd, 1960.
Where was he last seen when he disappeared? The obvious answer I'm looking for is the Macallistar Building, but I guess that's not the case.
It is not. So he was last seen in New York, but not in the Macallistar Building. So what you find is that he was suspected to have drowned at least 5, possibly as many as 20 children between 1947 and 1950.
Fuck.
Whoa. 5 to 20 children.
As little as 5, between 1947 and 1950.
Shit. I was not expecting that.
Holy cow. That's one bad dude. Wow, and he was in New York when he disappeared. Interesting.
Then you read, as far as the other crimes, Charles Lundeen, who was the son of the building owner and, by all accounts, from what appears to be a talented musician, hanged himself in the second floor ballroom on 30 August 1950.
Oh, okay, now he hung himself in the ballroom in 1950?
On August 30th, yep.
August 30th, 1950. Interesting. So, I mean, both in the same year.
And then on April 30th, 1952, Henry Lundeen, the owner of the building, was found in the staircase to the roof, dressed in these strange plastic silver robes, wearing a paper mache mask.
Okay, 1952, that was.
Yep.
And he was found top floor?
Yeah, on the staircase to the roof.
Okay.
The file contains photos showing a fat man in black and white sprawled on the third floor landing, wearing this expressionless white paper mache mask. And the NYPD determined he had died of a massive stroke.
Okay. That changes a little bit what I want to look at, because...
Do you dig more into Darabandi?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, with the criminal records, you find that on August 30th, 1950, a fire had broken out in his office on Mott Street in New York City. After the fire was extinguished, the fire department recovered the body of a 5-year-old girl named Isabel Sauer, and she had died from drowning next to a wash tub filled with bloody water. A warrant was issued for Darabandi's arrest, and it was soon discovered that Darabandi owed nearly $200,000 to the bank, and that he kept a logbook of accounts, which implied he killed perhaps 20 children since his arrival in New York in 1921. So when I said he had killed the 20 children, the police had determined that he drowned. They confirmed that he drowned 5 between 1947 and 1950. But this logbook shows that he may have killed as many as 20 since 1921.
Interesting. So this is 1950, so that's like 45 years ago. Is there any kind of like a Darabandi? I mean, is the Darabandi family still living in New York City? Their Darabandi mansion?
Nothing from what you can tell, at least with the records you currently have access to. The last thing you're able to find is that on September 2nd of 1960, his 91-year-old mother, Miriam Darabandi, had him declared legally dead by the state of New York.
Okay.
But yeah, so nothing else in the NYPD and their records related to this. You might be able to find more on him if you look through other channels, but he was an architect, so it's very likely he could have built other buildings or...
Right. So City Hall would be the place to go to look for that information, right?
Rolling times 5.
All right. That's a 22 critical success.
The public library would probably be an even better place.
Okay.
Either City Hall or the public library.
All right. Here's the thing. I think after getting this information about Darabandi, Mark is going to call Jenny and probably leave a message on her answering machine.
Yeah, does Jenny have a pager, or what sort of communications does she have access to? I'll say it's up to you.
Sure. For the sake of convenience, we'll say she has a pager, so you don't have to leave a message on her apartment phone where her boyfriend might hear whatever you're about to say.
All right. Well, I'll ask one of the people here at the information and records department. Is there a number I can leave for somebody? I have a colleague I'd like to discuss this with.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
All right. So I will call Jenny's pager and leave that number.
Yeah, and it's to the NYPD records section. But while this is going on, let's see what Jenny's been up to.
Yeah, so making her way to the university library. And she is specifically looking into some of the names that she came across last night. So I don't know the full first name, but I know we had G. Castaigne, which was found on the Clockwork Girl was G, and then Mr. Castaigne was the name they gave me for the night manager. And then I want to look up Ian Frederick de Craig and the prisoner number as well.
So we'll start with the Castaignes.
Okay.
So you find a book called The Dream of Perpetual Motion by Elizabeth T. Calhoun. It was published in 1988. And in this book, it lists that in 1423, Gabriel Chastain turns 21 and was given his father's letter and the contents of a lockbox, as well as his papers as a journeyman clockmaker, and subsequently vanishes for 2 years. In 1435, the estate of Gabriel Castaigne, formerly Chastain, is reported to be filled with marvels of clockwork, and Castaigne has spent years building automatons, clocks, and small spring-based machines. And in 1446, rumors started to spread in France that Gabriel Chastain's father had discovered the secret to perpetual motion and passed it on to his son.
Can I look into what the theory of perpetual motion is?
You can.
Basically, it's this idea that you can build a machine that will defy the laws of physics by never stopping running.
Yeah, it's perfectly efficient. Never loses energy through motion.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So the idea is you could generate infinite energy off of such a thing, but it's impossible because of the laws of physics.
Right.
And you also, digging further, you find another book called Architectural Oddities of Medieval Europe, written by Rupert Walters in 1966. In May of 1402, the 15th century Chastain house of Reims is considered strange because its every wall contains a door, even those opening to the outside on upper floors. The builder, Michel Chastain, is rumored to have disappeared inside after placing his affairs in careful order. Little is known about him. In January 1403, after announcing he had cracked the cipher of his cousin Michel Chastain, Augustus Chastain keeps a book detailing his experiments in quote-unquote operating the codes. This mostly appears to mean opening certain doors in the house while calling certain phrases and names into them. He claims he has found secret doors to a school, a hospital, a bookseller, catacombs, an inn, and a great metropolis, all within these walls. And then in 1425, Gabriel Chastain purchases Chateau de Port back from various intermediaries, having somehow come into possession of a new fortune.
Does it have any information on the types of codes or things that that guy said to operate all the secret doors and stuff, or is it just that he had a system?
Just that he had a system. And I think it would be called for you to roll maybe a little bit of a sanity roll. Might sound a little familiar.
Yeah. Success. Whew.
You lose 1. Now, as for Ian DeCraig, since you're kind of just looking in books at this point, you do find a book called Gangsters, Goons, and Joliet, a history, which was written by Stephen Robb in 1949. It states that on August 30th, 1925, Ian F. DeCraig disappeared from Joliet prison. It was discovered that he had been bribing guards for decades and created dozens of painted canvas backdrops, rolling set pieces, and pieces of prop furniture in that time. One item was this huge old-looking set door. It was brought into the prison at great expense in August of 1925. DeCraig disappeared from a locked room during one of his days working on this set, and he's never seen again.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, we can move on to someone else while I take in that information.
Okay. Cassandra and Ira, we'll say you get back to Abigail Wright's apartment. And if you want to begin searching, Cassandra, I will give you, you have 2 search rolls you can make for the day. 4 if Ira wants to contribute. But if it's going to be you at this point, you can make 2. And I'll give you the plus 20% bonus to your first roll, since you spent so much time going over the Polaroids.
Yeah, I was going to ask because I know I had the 20%, but then I also had the penalty because I stayed up all night. So
I'll give you the 20%.
Okay.
Flat. Yeah.
So yeah, she'll get in, start to get situated, tie her hair back, put on the gloves, put on the little booties if she needs to. And she'll look back at Ira. You can come in and
Not my area.
Well, I could use the extra set of hands if you're willing to.
His eyes kind of flick down to the stuff. Back up to her. He gives a little shake of his head. Call me if you need me. And then he's going to step outside into the hall and close the door.
All right. And with that, I will roll my first search.
All right.
So that's a 60 out of 71 success. Do you want me to roll the second one just in case? Or
Yeah. Go ahead and roll the second one while you're at it.
22.
22, critical success with the 71. The first thing you find is a elegant page of cream-colored stationery glued to the wall. It's crumpled, but it's new. The heading reads Hotel Broadalbin, New York City, in an Art Deco font, but there is no street address. Scribbled in pen is a rudimentary map that shows an elevator marked with an X and the letters ELEV, and various tunnels leading to a smaller X, which reads JL Bottle.
Yeah, she'll put it aside, kind of setting aside maybe like a little pile of things that might be important.
The next thing you find is a receipt, a yellowed receipt made out to Abigail Laura Wright. But the signature of the person who filled it out can't be read as it's little more than a scrawl. The receipt is for 1 month's rent of $850 in July for apartment 10B. Although the handwriting is recent, the receipt does appear to be old.
So I've got the receipt, I've got the stationery piece with the little map. Is there anything else that I find of interest?
Just those 2. So yeah, each day you get 2 search rolls and each one reveals something else.
All right, so yeah, I will, as I'm doing this, I'm kind of disassembling and sort of sectioning off chunks of this massive, I guess, installation, you could call it, and putting it just kind of in a nearby corner, like as it, just kind of like stacking it up as I go through it. But
what's your forensics at again?
My forensics is at 70. And I don't know if it helps, but I'm planning on staying at least until the same time that we got there the previous day.
Yeah, so it's going to take you that much time just to find those items, kind of going through all the junk.
Okay.
Unless you manage to convince Ira to help you out.
Apparently not, but I will actually at one point after I find the map based on the hotel stationery. I'll take a little bit of a break, and I'll go to Ira. Ira, can you just do me one favor?
Okay.
Perhaps 2. The first is I am getting a bit hungry. I can give you some cash if you wouldn't mind just getting me a sandwich from one of the bodegas down the street. The other, though, is if you wouldn't mind just checking Manuel's apartment to see if everything is as we left it, and to just check the door. Don't go in, but just check the door upstairs to see if you hear anything.
It is lunchtime. Why don't you come with me?
I would like to continue digging through this. It's a lot. And she gestures to the chaos behind her.
It'll only take about a half an hour. I don't want to leave you here by yourself.
I'm fine. I'm not going upstairs. I'm going to be down here. But again, if you could just check those things.
I'm not going to go and get food unless you come with me.
I'm not hungry then. I have work to do here.
And he'll turn back to go forward facing, looking at the hallway wall again.
Should I just go upstairs myself and check then?
If you'd like to go, I'll come with you.
You know what, fine. And she puts down something that she was kind of disassembling and sets it aside and starts to head out the door and walk up the steps.
Yeah, and Ira will go with her.
Yeah, she'll head up all the way up to the roof access door, and she's not going to open it just yet, but she's going to press her ear to the door to see if she hears anything.
You don't really hear anything, just the ambient sounds of the city on the other side.
Okay, well, hearing that, she's going to put her fingertips to the doorknob. Does it feel like it's locked?
No.
Yeah, she's going to very carefully turn the doorknob and just crack the door open enough to see if she can see or hear anything else.
You see the roof.
Seeing the roof, she swings the door open and just steps through.
Yeah, it is the roof of the Macallistar Building.
You see this. Ira.
Mm-hmm.
She steps out probably about 10 feet, if it's possible, to see if there's any sign of what was there last night. She looks over the edge just to see if she sees the traffic and the other apartment buildings around.
Ira will step up to fill the doorway and then use his foot to make sure that the door stays propped open, but won't follow her onto the roof.
There's nothing.
Yeah, Cassandra looks back at Ira, and she just kind of has this befuddled, helpless expression on her face.
Roll sanity.
It's waiting for that.
Both of you. So Ira, with a 57 out of 73, you lose nothing. Cassie, with a 69 out of 56, you lose 1. And with that, let's head back to Mark.
Yeah, so I think... So this is interesting to me because two of the things of the names that came up in this search were on bottles that we found.
In the photos, right? Yeah.
In the photos, yes. And so I think the next thing that Mark's going to look at is, do y'all have any information on a Temperance, a Jane Fry?
They don't have anything on that name.
Okay. In that case, we talked about Michelle. Is there a way to get a list of current residents of or recent residents of the Macallistar Building?
Oh yeah, I'd say that's easy enough.
So, well, I guess, if they're able to pull a list, that would be useful. But especially, is there a Michelle on that list?
There is. So the tenants are currently identified as Abigail Wright, Thomas Manuel, Roger Caroon, Lewis Post, and Michelle Van Fitz.
Okay, so that's who Van Fitz is. Do I get a call back from Jenny?
Yeah, I'd say at this point, Jenny, you probably received the page and with the number.
Yeah, I'll give it a call.
Jenny, I'm not sure where you're planning on heading for all this information, but I got a big bomb dropped over here. There's a man named Asa Severin Darabandi. Sounds like some kind of serial killer. He was the architect of the Macallistar Building, Jenny.
Darabandi. We saw that name on one of those weird photos in the hall.
I know. Yep.
Any of the other names pop up?
Henry Lundeen. He was the owner of the Macallistar Building. I mean, just, my gut tells me that the best place to go to find out more information about this Darabandi fella is the public library. Were you planning on heading that direction?
I'm at the university one. I can do a quick search here, let you know if I find anything, then we can meet up at the public library to cross-reference.
All right. Well, I've still got some names and different leads to go through here, but
Oh, sure.
yeah.
All right, so I'll look up Darabandi, and then, if I have time, maybe Henry Lunding as well. And then maybe I'll try and see if I can do some sort of, or if you want to, cross-reference some of those other names that we had read, if there's any kind of overlap with the Macallistar Building in the last, I don't know, I guess 40 or so years it seems to go back.
Yeah, I don't know. I look for that Temperance Fry. They don't have any information about her. I did find out Michelle is probably Michelle Van Fitz. She's living in the building as well. You remember Van Fitz on the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the residents. Okay.
All right. Well...
And the Temperance photo was the only one that was empty.
Right. That's why I thought it was strange, too.
Do you think it's waiting to be filled by someone with that name? We just haven't found her yet?
None of this makes sense to me, Jenny.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll keep my eyes open if I happen to run across it.
All right. Well, hey, you doing all right?
Yeah. No, it's just like you said, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. Well, if you want to talk about it, just let me know.
Yeah, will do.
All right. Right. So I'm going to finish up here another hour or so, and maybe we should meet at the public library.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll meet you there.
All righty. I'm going to try to look up some of the other names from those bottles.
Okay.
Start out with E. Lucette.
You don't find much of him. There's nothing for him in New York City records.
No. Okay. Let's just go down the list. Jay Lenz.
Actually, I think I have the list here, so yeah, I'll go through this for you. Nothing for Lynn's.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is E. Mosby. Yeah, nothing for him. Then we've got Carver. Nothing on her. Top Chick, I think you actually do find something on. In New York City, there was on May 9th, 1952, a director named Gary Topchick, who was employed by NBC. He was accused of drowning 3 children and was found insane and committed to Bellevue Hospital in New York City.
He was committed to Bellevue. Is he still alive?
He is not.
Okay. Bellevue is in New York City?
It is, yep. He was committed after a very brief trial in 1953, spent the rest of his life there. There's a possibility that Bellevue might have records, but the NYPD has nothing further on him.
Right. So would it take a search warrant to get information?
It's always worth a shot without a warrant.
How far is Bellevue? Well, I mean, I could probably call there, right?
Yeah, potentially.
All right. So that's probably what I would do.
You did have one more name on your list.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Lundeen, right?
Yes. Oh, well, Lundeen is Henry Lundeen.
Right, Henry Lundeen.
The
Correct.
former owner. Any other information about him? We know that his death occurred in the building on the staircase to the roof. He was wearing a paper mache mask and a plastic robe.
Yep, so there you go. Yeah, that's what you got.
Okay. I'm going to call over to Bellevue and ask them if they can bring up his records and tell me information about him, what he was suffering from, what sorts of notes, his treating doctors said about him.
All right. So we'll come back to that and we'll switch back over to Jenny.
Yeah, looking up anything I can find in the library on Darabandi.
You do find that the municipal library, actually, according to the records that the university has, that the municipal library actually has a copy of his journal.
Ooh, she leaves immediately to go get it.
So yeah, we'll say that you run on over there in that time. And you do get a copy of the journal, or you're able to review it with your academic credentials and your connections. On 6 May 1921, Asa Darabandi goes east on a whim and checks into the first hotel to catch his eye, which is the Hotel Broadalbin. On the 10th of May, New York millionaire Henry Lundeen, who is the owner of several textile mills, was an admirer of Ian de Craig, and he hoped to secure a copy of something called Le Roi en Jaune from the architect, from Darabandi, but Darabandi's had never had possession of that play. On 23 May, Asa Darabandi receives a phone call at the Hotel Broadalbin. The caller identifies himself as Bale and says that he serves the king, and informs Asa Darabandi of the first child that Darabandi is to kill, which is Peter Devereux, age 5, a rival for Asa Darabandi's throne. Darabandi found the child at the designated location and time and drowned him. On 29 May 1921, Asa Darabandi was overcome with this monstrous depression and expressed a desire to kill himself. But he was consoled by his friends at the hotel, including Wilde, Gary T., and Rourke. On 1 June 1921, desperate and terrified by his own actions, Asa Darabandi surrenders his treasured copy of something called the Libro Secretorum Manifesta to an unknown bookshop in the hope that he can break free of the urge to kill. The very next day, a copy of The King in Yellow shows up outside his door at the Broadalbin, delivered by a man dressed in red, and the phone calls from Bale continue. On 10 April 1922, Asa Darabandi informs Henry Lundeen that he is working on the hotel he has made his home in lieu of any payment. It pretty much has a record of all of his victims. With that, we'll go back to Cassie and Ira.
Well, yeah, she's standing there flabbergasted on the roof, looking around, looking back at him. There's nothing on the roof at all. There's nothing like that I can search for to see if there was any trace of anything.
There's literally nothing. It's just, honestly, it's a tar paper rooftop with vents and aerials and open air shafts. Nothing to ever indicate anything other than a roof was ever there.
What time of day is it?
At this point, say we're definitely in the afternoon.
All right, she makes a note of that. Suddenly I don't feel so hungry anymore.
Why not?
She just looks up at you and gives you this sort of, are you kidding me, kind of expression.
He gives her a little shrug. I could eat.
She shakes her head in disbelief and starts to just march towards you and past you down the steps back to Manuel's apartment.
He will kind of do a scan of the rooftop, but then quickly close the door and follow her down.
And yeah, when he gets downstairs, he would see that she's waiting outside of Manuel's apartment and not Abigail's.
Yeah, he'll go up, unlock the door, open it.
And yeah, when he opens it, Cassandra wants to go ahead and look around, see if anything's changed, see if maybe his body's materialized, and she is going to go to the fridge.
Okay, yeah, nothing else in the apartment, but you go to the refrigerator?
Yeah.
And what are you looking for?
I just want to see if the food is still there and if it's still in pristine condition.
Yep, everything's there. Everything's exactly like you left it.
She kind of lingers there with the door of the fridge open and shuts it gingerly but not forcefully. And she is going to go ahead and go back to Abigail's apartment to continue searching around. This time, like probably a little bit more determined, but because the coffee is worn off, it's like the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak sort of thing.
Yeah, so you were able to find the Broadalbin letterhead, the receipt, but it'll probably take another full day to make any more progress.
Yeah, she'll just spend the rest of the day until either she gets a call or a page from one of the other teammates, or until she gets to the time that they got there the previous day.
And I will say at this point, with all the records that you all have checked and reviewed and all the books you've read, it is now well into mid to late afternoon, getting to be early evening.
So I think Mark's going to meet Jenny at the public library and say, that's a lot of information to go through. What do you say we head over to the Macallistar Building and just dump this on the other two?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea.
All right.
Jenny heads that way. She's definitely quieter and not her usual chipper self.
This Darabandi was a bad dude.
Yeah, I mean, all those kids. Found a list of all of them.
I think he was an agent of Satan.
Yeah, there's something that I found that maybe we should wait until we get with the others, but you might not be far off.
The Bible writes about people like that, you know?
Guess the inspiration had to come from somewhere.
Well, we taking the subway or you want to grab a cab?
Whatever is faster. Probably the subway.
Yeah, wouldn't mind riding on the subway again. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right.
And just as you all are wrapping up, Ira and Cassie, Jenny and Mark arrive.
Yeah, they'd probably see him first before they see me.
Oh yeah, he's still standing out in the hallway, like ramrod straight. He's doing that thing where you like have your arms in front of you and you're like clasping one of your wrists. And he looks up at them, looks at their hands, sees no bags of food, feels disappointed but doesn't show it, and then looks back up at the hallway across from him.
There's somewhere we can talk.
I guess, yeah. Come on. He'll open the door to the apartment, and all of them will go inside.
And hey, real quick, Cassie, make a sanity roll for me.
Yeah, no problem. Ooh, that's an 83 out of 55.
As you're, going through your search, as you're going through these items in Abigail's apartment, pulling things down, sorting through it, looking for anything of interest, you just cannot shake the sensation that you're being watched.
Yeah, she's been on her hands and knees going through everything, almost maddeningly picking apart everything that she can and sorting it even more thoroughly than she was before she went upstairs. And she's got her hair tied back in a ponytail. She has, by this point, her makeup has just kind of faded away, and she's just the bags under her eyes are starting to poke through. The exhaustion from last night just seems to be taking over, and by the time the others enter the room, they would probably see her on the ground, just sort of looking up at the ceiling occasionally, in various very brief kind of bursts of like looking around and searching, and then going back to pulling apart things on the floor.
And you lose one sand, by the way.
Okay, great.
You have a minute?
What? Yeah, did you find anything?
You are not going to believe some of the stuff we found.
No, you go first, because today has not been, what did you find?
The biggest was a name on one of those photos. He's a Darabandi, some kind of child serial killer who operated in the 50s, but it's hard to tell how many kids he actually killed. But he was the guy who built this building. He was an architect, and he has connections to Henry Lending, another name that we saw in those photos. And through his journals, I also found the name Mark Rourke. While I was looking, and I take out the invitations, I came across these, and I hand them. So I looked up whoever this Ian Frederick de Craig was. Apparently he was a prisoner in the 1920s who just vanished from a locked prison cell, but on the back of the invitation it says references a king. Apparently Darabandi received a book, I think, something that references the King in Yellow.
Does that ring any bells?
Not to me. I was wondering if it would to you, any of you. Or maybe that case you worked on previously with the people with the robes.
Handler, does that ring any bells? Or
Nope.
Wait, does that really not ring any bells to Jenny? Because she's the one with all the knowledge of this.
Oh yeah, no, definitely doesn't ring any bells.
No? Okay.
Not beyond what I just found, the King in Yellow.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll info dump everything that I found. But yeah.
When you were looking, does the Hotel Broad Eblin mean anything to you?
Yeah, Darabandi stayed at that hotel for a while.
At that point, Cassandra gets off the ground and goes towards the little pile that she's been making and hands the receipt. Not the receipt. She hands the stationery, the letterhead, over to Jenny and Mark. I found this embedded in the wall. It was. I'm not sure. It looked like it was in between a pair of dentures, like clenched in its teeth, but it doesn't really say anything beyond this map that was drawn on it.
What's JL Bottle?
J Lens? Remember one of the names?
Oh,
Who?
J Lens.
that could be.
Was he a name on the mailbox, or?
No, remember there were a bunch of pictures of bottles, the people with bottles up there, and Mark just looked at the ceiling. J Lens was one of the names written on one of those pictures.
You think this is maybe the actual physical location of the J. Lynn's bottle?
Oh.
Wherever this map is?
Here's a strange thought. Did all the bottles in those photos look the same? Was it the same bottle?
No, they were all different. The only thing that stood out was that one picture that had a name but no one in it.
Well, this might be peculiar, but maybe it was a part of some kind of hunt. Maybe these bottles meant something to these people, and they were tasked to find them. And at this point, you see that Cassandra starts to look around the room again. It looks up at the ceiling, and her eyes kind of hang there for a moment, almost as if she's looking at someone or something. What time is it?
I looked down at my clock and tell her, or my watch and tell her.
Yeah, it's probably like pushing 4 at this point.
So is it like it's earlier than when we got there the first time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She'll look back down, and I searched. I did what I could, but it's so much here. Perhaps we can go back to the hotel and go through some more of what you found, some of the other names. And
I mean, before we go back, I'm thinking we should talk to the other inhabitants of the building.
Did you find out who Michelle was, by the way?
Well, there's a Michelle Van Fitz. That's the Van Fitz that's listed in the mailroom. Probably.
You see that Cassandra turns away and almost goes a little pale and starts to look around the room, occasionally looking back up at the ceiling and at the walls.
Are you okay?
I think I've just been in here a long time. There was something else that I found in Thomas's apartment. It was a screenplay or a script of some kind. I think he was writing it, but he mentions a few of the different tenants. Michelle. He also mentions Mark Rourke, though, and I didn't get a chance to look at more of it. But the page that I did find, it mentions there's a scene that mentions a group of federal agents coming into the building.
What, like we did yesterday?
No, that don't make no sense.
It doesn't make sense, but
What does?
Ira's going to be watching this exchange between them like very, very closely. And again, I have a terrible human, but I would like to roll it to see if Cassandra is actually okay or if she's kind of lost it a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead and roll. 14 out of 10.
Yeah. God damn it.
the play mentioned Abigail and the salesman as well, and a dog. I have to go, and you see that she starts to kind of break from the rest of you, and she is moving out of the apartment and heading back upstairs.
He'll follow her, Ira.
And she's heading back up towards the roof.
Cassandra.
And she doesn't even finish that. She just opens the door.
I'd like to hument her at this point as well.
Go for it.
Trying to see how concerned we should be right now. Oof, 68 out of 70.
They should be pretty concerned right now.
Does she seem like lucid? Or is she like completely out of it? Like,
She seems lucid but panicked.
okay. Have you guys eaten anything all day? Maybe I should just run and get something real quick. Looks like she might need something.
I'll keep an eye on her.
Okay.
Mark will go with her.
Okay.
Hey, you mind if I tag along?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know, that place. I think that place is driving Cassandra a little bit loopy.
I don't think she'd be the first. I mean, everything that we found, it's like some kind of artist is connected to this, right? There was, Darabandi was an architect.
Yeah.
This Dick Craig guy apparently created a bunch of artistic things while he was in prison, and then there's that clockmaker, Gabriel Castaigne, and then Abigail with her weird hoarder art project in her apartment. I don't know, there's something about weird artists being connected to this thing. Like maybe there's something that's driving them insane or giving them their inspiration. I don't know. Am I crazy? Am I the only one seeing that connection?
No, I totally think that makes sense.
Do you think there's maybe more? I don't know. I almost hate to open this door, but should we be looking into other artistic types associated with murder, homicide, serial killing, mass graves, deaths, things like that? I mean, what if Darabandi, he's the first name on that list, but what if others followed suit and did other horrible things?
Well, I mean, I looked into the things that had happened at that building, and I mean, there were a few strange ones I told you about.
Yeah.
Then again, the Lundins didn't seem to be artistic, really.
You do remember that name, Gary Topchick, who was a director and had drowned, was accused of drowning 3 children.
Yeah.
Yeah, drowning. Okay. Something about drowning kids then seems to be an unfortunate recurring theme.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to start looking into all the kids who have drowned in New York City? And that seems like a rabbit hole, but I feel like there's something insidious going on here and it hasn't stopped. With Abigail's disappearance, it makes me think that it's still ongoing. We just haven't seen it yet.
So at this point, if we pass by a payphone, Mark is going to hold on just a second. Jenny, I want to check on something. And I am going to call information and try and get the number for the Hotel Broadbend in New York City.
There is no such hotel in New York City.
Did the journal say that he was in New York City, right?
They did.
All right. Well, that's one thing. Seems like that's gone. We should look that up, though.
Yeah, maybe it's been renamed or torn down, turned into something else.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Cassie and Ira. Cassie, what are you up to?
Yeah, so she was bolting not bolting, but she was walking back up to the roof to see if it was still a roof.
It is indeed still a roof.
So she steps out, biting her bottom lip, and she's going to go to the edge of the roof itself, and she's just going to stick her foot out as if to continue walking, and she just wants to see if it's air.
There's nothing but open air beneath you.
All right.
You good? He's still kind of in the doorway. He hasn't gone onto the roof.
I guess I'm just hungry. And she'll start to walk back towards the door and head downstairs with him.
And I think we'll call it a session there. Thank you for listening to Delta Green Impossible Landscapes, part of the Black Project Gaming podcast. If you like what you heard, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to visit blackprojectgaming.com for previous Delta Green episodes. You can also listen to our ongoing Waterdeep Dragon Heist and Barovia, California campaigns. If you'd like updates on all future releases, please follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Until next time, I'm Vince, your host and handler, with Brett as FBI Hostage Rescue Team Operator Ira Breuer, also known as Agent Morgan. Cami as Dr. Jenny Archer, Anthropologist and Delta Green friendly. Doug as FBI Special Agent Mark Hansom, also known as Agent Meshach. And Jack as FBI Special Agent Cassandra Reese, also known as Agent Madison. Thank you again, and remember, we'll be seeing you.